Welcome back, everyone. And today we're going to share our experiences about the Norse rune Thurisaz with my friends Ryan and Rosa here. In case you're wondering what the rune looks like, it's in the corner of this video right now. And this is a part of a project that we are calling the Shamanic Cycle of Initiation, where we are going through each rune one by one in order of the Elder Futhark. And the way we connect to each rune is you can call it a psychic connection, you can call it third eye perception, or you can also call it using our clairsenses. And each of us has their own way of connecting. So first we connect to each rune, and we all ask the rune, because we are different people, we ask the rune slightly different questions, something that really interests us, but mostly it's along the lines of what is this energy and how can we find it in this world? How does it manifest in this world? And how can we find it in our lives? And after we can recognize this energy, we see if we feel any personal transformations, or while we are working on this rune, or any other realizations we get when we connect to this energy. So if you'd like to find out more about this project and join us if you like, you can check out the link in the description box below. And if you'd like to check out the videos on the previous two runes of the Elder Futhark, which are Fehu and Urus, you can also check them out in the description box below. So without further ado, let's just jump into the energy of Thurisaz then. Ryan, do you want to go first?
Sure. I gotta look at all the stuff I wrote down. Okay, with this one, it was a little different how I approached it, where I kind of asked the rune to join me, and kind of let me experience, I guess, their state, sort of their frequencies and vibrations, and help kind of assist me in getting the knowledge and the deeper meaning to it. And I also asked Odin to initiate me with that rune. And I got a lot of information, which was cool. So in the past, I kind of tried to ask Odin before and didn't really seem super interested. But or that's my perception. But what I got with this one, all I really read up with it is that it was kind of like a thorn, and it sort of looked like a board with a nail to me, only a triangle nail. So, but I got a lot where it was kind of interesting that all piercing objects sort of take that form of you know, a point, or kind of like a sharpened point, like even knives, where, you know, I mean, sort of takes a triangle sort of form, but you know, it's always sort of a sharpened point for piercing. And it kind of that they all take the same form interested me at first, but then it's also kind of seemed like protection, like how a rose has thorns, and you know, it's protecting growth. So a lot seemed like protection, kind of life, you know, but you're also part of that life, was something I was sort of getting. And there's some different stuff asking, like protecting family, and that kind of came up for me. But also boundaries, kind of got it, like, you know, like a weapon with a blood circle kind of thing, like, or protecting your boundaries, or even like land wise. And it kind of led me in a rabbit hole, so I'll sound a little like a raving lunatic. But it kind of led me to a whole everything is everything sort of thing, where, you know, the shape kind of looked like a sailboat also, and I thought of the Vikings, where, you know, it's sort of almost like a sideways sailboat, and, you know, the sailboat's kind of expanding the boundaries, kind of piercing the sea to find, you know, food or land, or take someone else's, but you know, for resources and survival. And then I kind of like thought about that, and it was you know, the sailboat's made of wood, you know, like a tree, which is part of what keeps us alive with oxygen, carbon dioxide, well, us exchanging. And then, you know, you're floating on that of the surface of the water, which we also need to survive. So there was kind of that taking place, but then I was thinking the weird word piercing, kind of this like peering and seeing, like you pierce into something to see what's deeper, what's beneath the surface, or piercing through a fog, or, you know, a delusion, creating a path. And it's you know, it's you know, and then how do we do that? You know, our light, our own light, the divine light, um, um, you know, wreaking stuff to the universe. But it's always light and energy. So kind of like to pierce, to see inside us, through delusions and distortions and fear and all that. And it kind of just kept going this way forever, and eventually it made it to the subject of eyes, where it's, you know, how do we see? And you know, we have, you know, cones in our eye, which kind of make a point too, or is perceived as that. And, you know, the eyes, in fact, are just picking up light energy and reflecting it off. And even that kind of got, you know, so it's, you know, and even, yeah, it's it kept going on like that for quite a while. But the eyes will be a whole another rant. But there was a lot of cool information in it, where it's I mean, I guess mainly protection, sacrifice came up a lot, where, you know, like how we survive, where it's, you know, killing something, where we're piercing it to eat it, or in the old times, you know, they're wearing the pelts and stuff to keep warm so they don't die. And then even with the sailboats searching for food for survival, it's, you know, tree kind of is life, so it's like you're selling on life, with life keeping you warm, eating life to survive. You know, it's you know, kind of piercing through life, make it to another place. So it's there was a lot of subjects that came up with it. So I really got a lot of information with this rune, and it was pretty neat for me. And I'll end it there.
Wow, that was really impressive, man.
I felt a bit like a raving lunatic, but, and then even the subject of eyes, like I ended up writing like an hour's worth of stuff, and it's like, I'm just going to cut it off before I go into the eyes. That's a whole nother deal.
No, the eyes have cones and everything, and it's like the boat's made of like wood, and you gotta kill the tree also to make a boat that's
Yeah.
gonna pierce the
And it's also
water.
kind of like, you know, it's also like the boat's, you know, solid, you know, kind of like our flesh is, like the boat's the body, the water's the blood, you know, the non-solid, but they're both needed. Even the cones and the eyes picking up, where the eye is picking up light and light frequencies. That's how we see stuff. There's the cones and the rods. The rods are picking up the dark energies in night vision. The light can see the different frequencies, which is color. The rods don't. Even in night, you can't actually see color. Your brain just thinks you can. But even then, it's like a reflection on the retina, picking it up and then making neural impulses, electricity, energy, through the optic nerve, and then your brain processes it. So it's not like I normally thought of seeing, where it's kind of, you're almost hallucinating what you're seeing. So
Yeah.
So the balance thing comes in. Interesting.
Very cool.
So Rosa, what about you? What did you get on the Rune Thurisaz?
Okay. So this summer process was pretty much the same, where I made sure I was really grounded. Got lots of help from my team and Odin in the room. Worked on clearing a lot of blocks and things first to have clean, clear communication. Let's see. I asked like various questions to the Rune, and I wrote down some of those answers or at least perceptions that I got from those questions. And when I asked Thurisaz how it gained its wisdom, I saw that it gained its wisdom through its connections with trees and their vast, enormous networks and power and knowledge, through its connection with Mother Earth and through its connection with the ocean and the vastness. So it had a very connectedness energy to the earth. When I asked how is it manifest in our current reality, I saw great size skyscrapers. I heard movers and shakers of society, big fishes in little pond, flashy people. So there was this element of like grandness to it, this big, large skyscrapers, just like large things, but also like large people who are maybe thought of as large in their society, being movers and shakers of the big fish in the little pond, or they're flashy, and so maybe that's how they got their grandness to them. I also saw that it manifests in the current reality. I saw like a zooming in on a molecular level of our cells, and I saw cells in conflict with other cells, kind of like cancer or like a sickness or things like that, where your cells are fighting with each other. And when I zoomed out, I saw the people were battling and fighting also with each other. So there's this conflict battle aspect of it and the energy. I also felt like online fights. I don't know why. I was like, okay, online fights. When I asked Thurisaz how its energy manifests in my life, I saw my connection to one of my tall spirit guides was very, very tall, like huge, 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 or at least that's how I perceive it. And so I saw my connection to this helper, and I saw this huge light connecting me to divine and to the universe and outer space. And there was just like this grandness of me in my normal state, in my normal, normal, but I had like this grandness because of these connections and these other things, these other parts of me, these other sides of me. And all these connections and they're like, a lot of them are very powerful. So that's what I saw anyway, when I connected with that question, how it manifests in my life. But then I also saw how it manifests with my life. Like that was kind of like a zoom out of just like looking at me and like this grand part, but then there was a zoom in and went inside of me. And I saw inside of me, there was these two parts of myself that were in conflict with each other. And there was this part of me that was in a jail, in a dungeon, being tortured, bloody, chained up, sad. And it was me. And then that me was being tortured by another me that was very happily torturing that me. in the cave, in the dungeon, and causing that like this malformations or torturing, that torturing, that was me. So it was just, it showed me how Thurisaz manifests in my life that way too. That kind of led to this whole transition in my life and like, what? I'm torturing myself. I need to look into this more. I started a whole probably like 2-week journey from that. One little message right there, which was a huge message. It was a huge insight. And I spent a lot of time with trying to connect with that part that was not with me. And soul retrieval, and it turned into this whole soul retrieval thing. So this rune really took me on a journey for real, because it was a crazy 2-week journey after that reveal of what was going on. So it was very helpful. I asked the rune if I perceive that symbol in my life, or if someone perceived that symbol in our life, what sort of messages would the symbol be telling us? And it said it could be telling us of, foretelling you of recurrence or upcoming interactions with the giants of society, like a court, like maybe it's pointing to a court case that you have coming up, and the whole court system that you have to face, and the judge, or some other sort of like large giant governmental system, or maybe it's just your boss, and it may be speaking to something of that. It may be speaking to you being like some sort of, I don't know, for example, a selling giant in your business. So some sort of like internal part of you that's giant. May also be talking of like a big event in your life. But that when I got in the first meditation, and the second meditation, I started getting more of the conflict stuff. So I'm sure it would also be telling you potentially of conflicts, internal conflicts, external conflicts, war or violence, things like that. I did also ask, how did the symbol come about? And I felt it was in the energy of the strokes. I like asking that question. So I felt like it was in the energy of the strokes. And when I followed the strokes, it brought me on a journey of following the strokes. And of course, that peak just points out. First thing it did was it flipped on his back, and the peak just grew to a huge, huge mountain. So it spoke of this giant grandness within the symbol. And then it turned back over to the side, and the peak just showed me the sharp, pointy, it was just so obvious, the sharp, pointing, dangerous tool, weapon. So it was, it spoke to that as well. So that's how I felt the energy of the strokes are what caused the symbol to be in the form that it is. And so when I just connected with the energy itself of the soul itself of the rune, I got a bunch of random things. So I'll tell you what some of those things are. One was a hammer. So I did find out later that hammer and this rune have some sort of connection. So I did see like a hammer and tools and things like that. So there's something with hammer and tools. There was this one image I got of a guy who was walking there in a circle. Now he was just walking at first when you look at him. And if you zoom out some more, you see that he's actually just walking in a circle. And then if you zoom out some more, you see that it's a very small circle. It's just like a gear. He's standing on a gear and he's just walking around this gear. And if you zoom out some more, you see that this other big giant person is controlling the gear through this like very complicated mechanism, tool, machinery. And this big giant person is manipulating the small person. So I feel like that could be interpreted in so many different ways. So I was just kind of leave it like that. But there's lots of hidden things in that imagery that I felt like could be brought out. Certainly the tools, certainly the giant, the control, like, having the control, but someone, I don't know, having a godlike control over this other person. Movers and shakers of society. the people behind the curtains who make the decisions, something like that. I saw lots of huge things when I connected with just that energy. I saw the symbol itself grow very large. I saw this large Sasquatch type being, lots of like giant beings. I didn't really know who they were. A lot of giant birds too. A lot of birds. A lot of gentle giants. So I know there was something with giants in this rune too that I kind of saw about later, but there was definitely a lot of gentle giants. Felt like strong but gentle, you know. Let's see, anything else. I heard peacocking. Peacocking to me is when someone is flashy, where they have like a lot of colors, you know, like a peacock. They're like, look at me, you know, like they have the fancy outfit and whatever. I call it like peacocking. So I heard peacocking. I heard alpha dog, and there was something with wings, and I'm not exactly sure that it was 100% related to the rune itself or the shamanic initiation of the runes. I feel like they maybe were more related to the actual initiation process that we're going through, where we're sitting down and we're going through rune by rune. So there was at one point where there was just a lot of wings, and Odin was there, and he had very big wings, very big, massive wings. And he kind of like engulfed me with his wings, and he was showing me how to use my wings. And he was like literally right next to me and showing me, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So I felt like that was sort of actually a message towards this whole initiation process we're doing, and how he's just kind of showing us the way and showing us our own wings or our own way, our own gifts, and through his wisdoms. And yeah, so that's the main things that I got. Varying things, definitely a powerful rune. I had a lot of blocks to getting this rune's information. I had a lot of blocks. It was crazy. There was a lot of work I had to do each time to connect, and then a lot of blocks to work out all the things that the rune showed me I need to work on. So definitely a journey. It was a cool one. That's it.
Wow, it's it's like every time it's getting cooler and cooler. Each experience with every rune. And I was like having
Totally.
goosebumps when you said some of the stuff, because it's seriously like different pieces of the puzzle, like what we're getting, and like it helps each other learn. I guess like I'll just start, because like it's connected to what both of you were saying, but I was kind of lost. I did 3 meditations, and I was kind of lost in some stuff. Like I didn't really get the point, the symbolism. I was like, can't understand. But I've like at first I saw a birch tree, specifically a birch tree, like thin and long, and I saw a forest with a lot of very, very tall trees, and I was looking at them from the bottom up, and they were just tall and very, very straight, like they're piercing up very, very high, like giants. Now I understand. Oh, it's like, yeah, giants. I was thinking, wow, they're just very tall, and and I was showing this many times, and I was still kind of, well, tall trees, okay. And I was shown the trees from the roots, which is also not the first time. I like once, yeah, once Odin showed me a tree from the roots, and I was in the root area, and there was some energy happening, like a blue energy happening in the roots, or was it in the soil? I wasn't sure. And then this energy just goes out the tree trunk, like up, and it's like piercing, and it goes like really, really fast. So the word piercing came up a lot, like with Ryan. Ryan was using that word a lot. And I also saw carved tree trunks. If you guys ever saw these pictures of like from pagan times. There are like tree trunks, and they use the tree trunks to carve deities, to carve gods, and so the trees look like faces and bodies. So I saw those sculptures, um, and I guess from the first two times that Rosa was talking about, oh, she got the reason how the symbol formed. So I remember I told myself, hey, next time, ask for this information. I really want to know. So I didn't actually ask, but I guess my like subconscious asked. So I was like sliding up like a tube, like in a water park. Uh, and it's like it went up very, very, very high. It was like the distance was humongous. It was like going up a mountain, like you described. But I was just going up like crazy. And when I zoomed out, actually it happened like this. Like I was zoomed out while I was sliding up. I saw that you slide down and then you slide up, and somehow it all turns out to be the symbol. And I was going up, up the line, and then I got to like a peak. And this rune symbol actually has like different variations. Sometimes like this, and there's like a triangle, or it's like this and then it goes directly down. So for me it was like up, and there was a way to go directly down. But when I reached the very, very top, there was a like a deity who was carved out of a tree trunk, like the ones that I saw before. And that guy was like, he raised his right arm, like I guess it's like the momentum of the energy was so huge that he raised his right arm and he just like threw something like a blade or a piercing object somewhere, like in an attack, and with like a lot of power. And I was interested in, what did you throw? I asked, like, I didn't see what you threw. Can you please show me, what did you throw? So it showed me that it was a sword, and it had like a particular, I don't know why it was, uh, okay, I drew the sword. So it had kind of these things there which were important, and I don't understand why. I couldn't draw them really well. I tried again, but it didn't work. I don't know what that means, but I saw that particular sword. And then I saw like on the next meditation, I was kind of entering the energy through a dark door, and the door was crisscrossed and blocked by many, many blades or swords or knives. Like Ryan said, like also like it doesn't really matter. It can be something like a blade or a knife or a sword or something, and it was some kind of stuff like that, and they were glowing neon green, and that was important somehow, the neon green color against the black. It was really crazy energetic and just like out of the blue, like whoa, neon green, crazy. um and then the door opened, and I saw like a huge masculine energy like just walk, kind of like kick me in or something. I saw a foot that went in my face, kind of like, get in, like really, really aggressive. Um, and also at the same time, I saw like a macaque playing a flute. So it was kind of like the macaque was also enjoying. It was like so active, energetic, and playing the flute, which is also long and like a tree trunk. And it was like welcoming me into the energy. um and yeah, the macaque was like very, very energetic, and I felt the energy like, yes, 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 go, go, go. And then I saw somebody's arm, and there was a spider walking around on the arm, and immediately I felt like, oh, it's poisonous. And then the spider turned into like a plant that was like spiky, like barbed wire or something, a spiky plant, and the plant went around the wrist and it turned into metal and it became black and it just like froze there. And to me, the message was that this was a bracelet of protection and it was all spiky, and it came from nature somehow. It comes from poison, like everything is connected, that it's protection. Therefore, there needs to be some kind of destruction, like the poison of the spider or like the spiky parts of the bracelet in order to protect something. And then I saw a entity or a deity. I felt like it's a specific kind of deity, and it was a very, very angry, aggressive, scary, fast walking. He was just walking around in a rage, and he was blowing wind out of his mouth. And I guess I don't know like mythology so well. I don't know who that could be. He's blowing wind out of his mouth all the time, and his face was kind of dark, almost like black, and the wind was blue. And his decorations around him were huge, like maybe this much was just decorations of gold and red. And he was walking around. It just reminded me of maybe Chinese kind of decorations, or like from the Incas, something from that kind of civilization, the Mayans, the Incas. Like I've seen that kind of golden decorations on like TV about them. So yeah, this I don't know who this deity was, but he looked really boxy and like very ferocious. Like you don't want to get in his way, really. Don't get in his way. And then I saw like a door opening, and there was a short, very strong man, and he had a lot of spears. Like he was armed with a lot of spears, and then the spears turned into guns, and then he just started shooting everybody who wanted to come in that place. Like he was protecting that place like ferociously, like really with a lot of anger. Not, I wouldn't say anger, but like this huge energy. And then I saw 2 times there were like women being attacked by a man. Like first time I saw a bride, and she had her like hands tied behind her, and the hands were tied by rope, but the rope transformed into a knife, which she was secretly holding to protect herself. And then she was like assaulted by a man, which I assume that was her husband, because she was a bride and white. And then I saw this man being tortured afterwards. Like she had a protection, and then he was tortured on a table, face down, closed with like linen, white linen. And it was like the power of the what's coming for you. If you mess with whatever is protected, what's coming is really, really strong, like extremely strong. And another time I saw also a woman who was like sexually assaulted, and then somebody came and almost killed the man, and he was dragging the man out. And it showed me like the amount of like if you're going to mess with whatever is protected, you are going to get like extremely, not just like a little bit punished, okay, don't do it again. No, it's not going to be a little punishment, it's going to be like extreme attack, like almost until death. But he wasn't dead, it was like almost there. And I also saw circles, and the circles were kind of like barbed wire. They were purple, and I felt like the colors of this rune are neon green and purple, because I kept seeing these colors throughout the whole visions, in different places. So um, they're like circles, and they were kind of like barbed wire, and they had very 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 thin spikes and kind of long, and they were meant, this thing was flying around in a forest, and I felt like it was a protection of the forest, and I felt like that thing looked like a trap, like an animal trap, but it wasn't meant for animals. It was like, you put it, it's an energetic protection, it's not really physical. It's like it's on the floor of the forest, and whoever goes there with the intention to destroy, to do something bad, they're gonna get it, and they're gonna get it really bad, like really really bad. Then one of you saw a bird. I think Rosa, you saw bird, like you saw wings, and I saw a woman, again dressed in white. I don't know why. She let go of a bird, like a messenger bird, and the bird left, and then there was another bird that came, and it was a giant bird, a black bird. I don't know what bird it was, but it came from behind the woman, and its giant wings were like covered the woman from behind all the way down to the floor, and it looked like a coat of protection. It was hugging the woman so kindly, but it was black and powerful and giant, and then it put its head here and it rested on the woman's chest, so the heads were kind of together, and they were hugging in this beautiful unity, where you know that they loved each other so much, and it was like a beautiful protection. Like I felt like the big black bird is protecting the woman. And then later in retrospect, I thought the bird that flew away, it seemed like maybe it was a message like, I want protection, I'm not sure. And then she was covered by this black wings, and then I just clearly heard the word Durga. I didn't see anything because recently I've been actually working with the goddess Durga, who is a goddess, like a warrior goddess from Hinduism. She travels on a lion or a tiger, and she has like 6 or 8 arms, and she has different weapons for different kind of reasons. And it's actually, her story is much longer than like a few words that I'm saying right here, but it's like the rune is connected to this energy of this goddess. So if anybody wants to check out this goddess, it's like all over, you can find anywhere the goddess Durga. But she is not, like, the interesting thing is she's not just, the warrior goddess. There's so much more to her that also, if you discover it, it seems like this makes sense with what you guys said also. And finally, I saw a farmer, and like in a farm, and he's holding up his little boy, a son, and he was looking up at him with such deep love and admiration, that he was just loving him so much. And he said, I love you so much that if anything should ever happen to you, if anyone ever wants to harm you, I will kill them. Like, and he meant like, I will kill them, and I don't care about myself what will happen, but I will kill them without any hesitation. And then I saw like a similar thing where the mother, again in purple and white, the same colors kept repeating, was holding a baby, and she was looking at the baby with so much love that she was like, if anybody ever tries to harm you, I will kill them. And it was like this energy, like, oh, and then I saw the father looking both at the mother and the baby, and he was thinking, if anybody tries to harm them, I will kill them. So it was like, yeah, if like the love is connected to this kind of aggression, and they go hand in hand together. And then I just saw like a bunch of kind of I saw like an office struggle where some guy, like they had a fight, and then one of them was like so aggressively trying to I don't want to say pay back, but yeah, I guess he was thinking of how to destroy the other guy's career, like destroy, not using physical forces, just destroy with some information or something. So it doesn't have to be physical piercing or something. And then I asked, how can I see this energy in my life? And it showed me like snow, and it said, you don't have it. And I'm like, can I have it? Can I ask for a blessing, or can you guys give me protection or something? And then it showed me that, look, just as the farmer loved his son so much, that's why he was so protective. You don't have enough feelings of love for yourself that you are going to generate this energy of protection. And it said that if you're going to love yourself highly enough, with enough strength and passion and power, that energy of protection is automatic. It's not something that you ask for. It's not something that you magically just get it without the other side of the coin. It's like a balance. If you want this kind of protection, you need this kind of crazy love too. Without the love, you can't have the protection. So like you felt the self-transformation, I also was like slapped in the face, like, whoa, oh my God, I don't love myself enough. Like that's a lot of work to do.
Definitely cool.
Yes.
When you were talking about how the symbol of the room came about, and you talked about this deity that lived inside of the tree that brought out this like sharp symbol. And I remember when I first connected with the rune, and I asked how did it get its wisdom, it was through the trees. At least that's what I was shown, through the connection of the trees and the network of the trees and their wisdom that they share with each other. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's like they're all in the forest, and there's this protection that happens for the whole thing. But you guys got like way deeper stuff about different levels of how it can be seen. It's like, wow, it's really deep.
Everyone got deep stuff.
It definitely had like I don't know, an abstract way, this energy. It was not like it wasn't as direct, I felt, as the other ones. Maybe it has some of this wordlessness to it that it was kind of hard to say, oh, this is what it means, because it had like this wordlessness to it, and the knowledge and the wisdom. And so like when you were talking, you were saying I was having a hard time really understanding what the hell it was saying. I felt that too a lot of times, because I was like, seems like I'm all over the place with these things you're saying. They're like seem all over the place. But I think it was some of that abstractness to it, that wordlessness to it, Seemed like you kind of picked up on that too.
Yeah, I got that too. Or I just felt like a raving lunatic. But but there was a very sense of like everything is everything being connected. And it's interesting Olga brought up the family and the protection, because I did get that also. Or it seemed to have a lot to do with family and being willing to protect them even if you die for them, in particular. So that was cool. But yeah, everyone got a lot. So it was it's an interesting one.
I will say this, while you were talking, I felt Odin come here. I felt his presence.
Mhm.
And then he was like, it's funny. You were talking about Dulga at the time, and he was like right here, or he was like around that time, and he was like, ha, 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 I'm here. Like he was just so happy that we were all talking about him, and he was like front and center, at least that's how I perceive it. He was like, I'm getting my screen time. He was just like right all in the screen and was like, yay. So I was kind of watching that while you were talking too. So I had a few things going on.
I'm
Uh,
interested. Oh,
I actually called him before the meeting. I said, if you would like to, if you like this of sharing of this ancient information to people, please come and join us and help us like this. So I guess you saw him. Yeah.
He came.
cool. Now I'm interested in what you guys saw with the giants, because I remember the Vikings had something with the giants, and I think like Odin and Thor, and there was a big
Yeah,
thing with frost giants. I think it was. I saw that in a movie. I don't know if it was in the actual thing.
I did look that up after because I was like, I didn't know what all these. I kept seeing lots of giants, and I was like, is that a thing? Because I don't really know much about Nordic culture or this ancient stuff at like this part of the world, their stuff at all. But yeah, there was a huge war between the giants and Odin and the gods, I guess, Thor. So they lost. The giants lost. I know that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the Greek gods and the Titans also had a war kind of deal.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, and Rosa kept like zooming in and out, in and out. It's like
Mm-hmm.
also it's like tiny, big, and that everything is makes sense on big scale and small scale.
Mm-hmm.
But in as I remember, like, well, Odin is like is a son of a giant, and then like they say different things, but like Thor is like the son of Odin in some places they say, and or I'm not that good at it, but like that's what I remember. And but sometimes Thor is being talked of like he's a giant, even though technically he's not, but he's talked about like he's a giant. And they say that the rune Thurisaz also like represents the Thor's axe or hammer, sorry, hammer, and
Yeah, hammer.
uh, yeah, or a thorn, which they say like Thor, it's like he has this huge energy of like lightning, almost like that lightning and thunder with that his hammer has, and he goes like protects the gods also from outsiders. So yeah, there's something about giants and uh, um, the tools used to protect. And like Ryan, did you get any like self-transformational kind of experiences? Did you like ask, or did you get any feeling like where this energy is for you?
Where it is for me, um, it kind of just a little bit. There was a lot of information really easily available, which was cool. 'Cause every now and then I struggle with that. But it kind of it went all over the place, but everything connected. So it's it really had a, there's some like old teachings that kind of sank in with it. I think a lot, there was kind of a sense that kind of, you know, the knowledge of everything is already in us. It's just kind of need to experience it again, maybe, or maybe just need to learn how to perceive it. But there's kind of a lot. There's a lot I still need to go into on that one, but there's a very big sense of everything being everything, and things like that, where it's, you know, you can make everything. You can tie like a blade of grass into every other subject if you feel like it, or it can mean nothing. It's like, well, who cares? No. So it brought up a lot of curiosity and questions. So I'd say there is a bit of transformation, and then, you know, went into eyes and perceiving using light, and, you know, what are we doing in the whole reflections thing spiritually, reflecting on our light, which is actually how we see. And it's in a way. And then, you know, how do we go for the darkness, or perceive the darkness, pierce the darkness with light or energy? Even the electrical impulses, electricity is energy, mechanical energy by definition. But it's so it made a lot of sense on a lot of levels. There's a lot more layers to it that I kind of need to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like.
So it's more like, where isn't it? It's like it's everywhere for you.
Pretty much. This one I really connected with. It hit home. Being, you know, protective of family and loved ones. I think that's in everyone. I imagine. But, you know, willing to kill for them. You will put your survival and the survival of your people over others. And then just kind of everything being life. There's a lot of deep meaning with all of it. There's a big theme of sacrifice almost. So it's,
Come to think about it, like when you say it now, I did feel this energy in my life recently while we were working with the runes, not specifically this rune, but when we had the earthquake here, the whole thing started shaking, and I ran out immediately, which actually you're not supposed to do, but I didn't think about it. I just ran out, and as I saw on the street, everybody was running out of their houses. I always thought that I'm the kind of cold person that wouldn't help anyone. If it comes to life and death, I would save myself. But I just didn't even realize what I was doing. No, I realized what I just ran into my mom's building, which was like opposite kind of close to my building. Just ran there while like people are running out, which is the smart thing to do, right? And I ran in there knowing that I don't know what happened to this building. It's gonna fall down or what. And I ran up to get my mom, and then like very slowly we walked down because my mom can't walk fast. We're like the last people on the street. And then I realized like, oh, this energy, like I love my mom so much that I really don't care if I'm gonna be in that building when it falls down, because for me it's more important that I did like all my best to save her, rather than later be like, well, yeah, it didn't make sense to go in there. Yeah. So yeah, now I saw it, the energy. So thanks to you.
cool. Yeah, and then there was also a thing which kind of Paul has taught a million times, but where it's you know, like the sun's just the sun. No one expects it to be anything other than the sun. You know, a thorn's just part of a rose that protects it. No one expects it to be anything different. So that kind of made sense on a lot of levels, where there's, you know, there's a protective, you know, humans are humans. They, you know, why does anyone expect us to be different than that? It brought up a lot in me. Anyhow.
And for those of you wondering who's Paula, she's on my website. She's our shamanism teacher and mentor, and her link is always in the description box below. So if you want to check it out, go down to the description box below. Rosa, do you have anything else to say before? Do you guys have anything else to mention before we wrap this video up?
Just thank you. I appreciate you and I love you, because this whole journey it would not be possible without you.
Oh, I love you too, guys. No, seriously, it's a crazy journey. Really, really unexpectedly amazing. It's every time it becomes new. It's never the same. It's always different, and it's just amazing that to have people in this journey to talk to. It's like, wow.
I agree. Yeah, I just love you two a lot. It's pretty awesome to have some amazing people to share the journey with and talk about with all this stuff, and to feel safe enough to talk about anything. So I just really love you two a lot. So thank you.
I love you too. And thank you guys for listening all the way to the end of the video. Also, if you guys feel like this is a place for you to share your insights on this rune Thurisaz, and like, you're welcome to leave your feelings, your experiences about this rune in the comments below. And I hope you guys are enjoying this journey with us, and you're welcome to join us and write what you feel from your different perspective in the comments. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.